In this course, we'll understand Ethernet, the fundamentals, equipment, and implementations, including twisted pair copper, wireless, and fiber. Ethernet implements the equivalent of pipe, physically connecting two devices. IP and MPLS are used to move packets from one pipe to another. They're covered in other courses. Ethernet and its MAC frames have fulfilled one of the holy grails of telecom, packaging everything the same way on all kinds of links, copper wire, fiber, and wireless, in the network core, in the access network, and in the customer premise. Standardizing on MAC frames across the board makes interworking simpler, more reliable, and cheaper to implement. As a telecom engineer, I stand back in awe and admire. We'll begin with the fundamental idea of a broadcast domain, first implemented with a bus cable. We'll understand LAN interfaces and how each interface has a hard-coded MAC address, and how the address field in a MAC frame is used to indicate for whom a frame is intended, since all stations in a broadcast domain will receive it. We'll then understand how the bus is now inside a box called an Ethernet switch, LAN switch, or Layer 2 switch, how the switch learns the MAC address of each station, and how the LAN switch forwards MAC frames to one or more stations. Then we'll go over the important idea of VLANs, which are broadcast domains defined in software, and how VLANs can be used to segregate traffic by device type and by work area at the enterprise level, and segregate traffic by customer at the carrier level. You'll learn about the many standards for implementing Ethernet, 802.3 from the original 10 base 5 to 1000 base T on categories of twisted pair cables, 802.11 wireless LANs, and Wi-Fi certification thereof. We'll finish with a comprehensive lesson on optical Ethernet, Ethernet on fiber, which is the basis of today's telecom network. You'll learn how bits are represented on fiber, how fiber cables are installed underground, and how fiber splicing is used to connect bulk fiber to equipment. We'll review optical Ethernet standards from 1 gigabit per second to 100 gigabits per second. This course is composed of the following lessons. Number 1, the course introduction. That would be this one. Lesson 2 is broadcast domains, MAC addresses, and MAC frames. Here we'll cover the fundamental idea of devices connected together in a broadcast domain and how stations communicate using MAC addresses. Lesson 3 is LAN switches, also known as Layer 2 switches or Ethernet switches. How LAN switches are at the center of practical implementation of connecting stations, and how they forward frames between stations in a broadcast domain. Lesson 4 is VLANs, Virtual Local Area Networks, defining broadcast domains in software to segregate traffic. These are used to separate customer traffic on carrier metropolitan area networks and used in building as a basic network security measure. Lesson 5 is on the 802 series of standards, and in particular 802.3, where it covers twisted pair, and 802.11 for Wi-Fi. We'll understand Ethernet on copper wires and standards like 1000 base T, and Ethernet over the ether, usually called Wi-Fi, and how MAC frames are communicated using radio carrier frequencies. Lesson 6 is twisted pair LAN cables, wiring plan, and switch hierarchy. Wiring Ethernet to the work area with Cat5, Cat5e, and Cat6 twisted pair copper wire cables, along with a discussion of wiring closets and Layer 2 aggregation switches and their layout in an office environment. Lesson 7 finishes the course with a comprehensive lesson on optical Ethernet and fiber links. We'll understand the fundamental idea of representing the ones and zeros that make up a MAC frame using light carried in a glass tube, how fibers are actually installed and commissioned, and review the optical Ethernet implementations in the 802.3 standard. Here we'll go over some instructions for using the MyTerracom Learning Management System. On a tablet or phone, the best experience may be achieved by going full screen. Click the full screen icon under Settings in Chrome. The course is composed of a number of lessons, which are loaded onto your computer one at a time by clicking the corresponding link on the menu of available lessons for the course on your MyTerracom Learning Management System dashboard. Each lesson begins with an overview and discussion of the lesson objectives. Then the lesson is presented in several parts, followed by several quiz questions to help ensure you understood key points. The skip forward and back buttons at the bottom of the screen may be used to navigate back and forth between parts of this lesson, and the slider also works. Play, pause, and mute buttons are also located at the bottom of the screen. You can go back through a lesson as many times as you like. You can close your browser, then log back in the next day or the next month, and you'll restart the same lesson until you click the Finish Lesson button to move to the next lesson. When you're finished a lesson, click the Finish Lesson button to go to the next lesson. After clicking Finish Lesson, please wait to see a screen with a large green check mark. This is confirmation back from the learning management system that your progress has been recorded. If it's been more than 30 minutes since you started the lesson, your session on the server may have timed out and you may see an error message. In that case, just log back in to continue. You can take any lesson anytime by setting the last lesson completed value on the lessons page to the appropriate value. Let's get started.